All right, then. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to week 2 of Cooking with Chef. And I'm Brother Chef.
And I'm Kevin Kayatowski.
Yes,
Hey everyone,
yes,
what's up?
Absolutely.
How are you guys?
Oh my God, yeah, they're just happy to hear us
All right.
again. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
asked you, Chef, how has your week been before we
Absolutely
had some
hectic.
technical difficulties?
Absolutely hectic, but I love it. I love it. I love it. Like I've been doing like 2 a days, like working out and everything. Like,
Every day?
like most days that I can and everything. Like some days what I do, I run through like a circuit where I'll like throw jump rope, calisthenics, like burpees. Like I love those. Like basically, all right, for people listening and everything who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, like burpees. That's when you you drop. All right, you drop down, do a push up, then you like bring your knees up and you do a jump squat. And what I like to do at the end, I like to like tuck my knees all the way to my chest on the jump up, just to add like a little bit more challenge. I do
Really
that.
improving your lateral jump.
Yeah, and like I'll like to get some oblique action, I'll like rotate when I jump up, I'll rotate the knees to one side and then the other, and then I'll do some like snatches. Like, all right, I can't really explain that well, but I'll do. But like anybody who's like listening, Google basically a dumbbell snatch. And that's basically if you ever seen
Just like whipping a dumbbell forward, pretty much.
Yeah. It's like if you ever watch those Olympic lifts or whatever, like the dude will like have the weight at the barbell at the bottom, and then he'll like he'll lower his level, and he'll like pop up and whip the bar to like where his chest level and squat under it to catch it, and then stand up with it, and then like on the stand up you basically stand up with enough force to where basically the momentum goes down from your legs up to your chest and through your chest into the bar, and you like hold, and then you extend your arms up and hold it overhead, and that's the clean. And basically the snatch is where you keep your arm, you do that same shit, but you keep your arm straight the entire time.
Did you do all this in the Baruch gym?
Yeah, just
Dude,
now.
how do you have
actually.
any room? Because your workouts are so dynamic, and it's usually quite packed in my experience.
Like, it's just like you get used to it over time. Like I remember the first time.
You need like a 30-feet clearance area around any of your workouts.
Like honestly, I've been kind of joking because I don't know what it is with people in the gym, but they'll see I'm not a giant guy, but it's like I'm 6 feet tall. I'm 6'1", 220 pounds. And I'm a giant black dude, basically, and like
like a bouncer.
And people see what I'm doing, like I'm jumping, I'm doing burpees, I like shadow box, I'm throwing spinning wheel kicks and back kicks, I'm jumping rope and everything, and people just love to get within inches of me in the gym. Like, what are you doing?
It's like that magnetic aura, man.
Like,
I'm gotta be a part of that.
Yeah, but it's like, do you want to get hit in the face? I remember this one little like tiny Asian girl. I almost hit her in the face with a dumbbell one time. Like, what are you doing? Like, why would you get close to me? Like, I don't know.
Curiosity, man. I don't know. I would not. I'd stay far away. Be like, listen, he needs his entire section. I'm gonna leave that to him. Just take my 5-pound dumbbells over here.
People definitely listen to me like, oh, this fucking douchebag. Like, yo, I need a lot of room, bro. I need a lot of room. Like, lifting big weight over here. Like,
Hey, listen, actually, a lot of things you do don't even require weight. Jump ropes, burpees.
Yeah. Like
calisthenic stuff like that.
My thing is like, all right, I go to school now, so I love the gym here. I love like utilizing it, but
because it's free.
I remember absolutely. That's the thing. Like, I used to like work out at at like a regular gym. I had a membership, and I would go. And what's the number one thing that people hate people that don't work out like hate when it comes to trying to get into workout? It's getting up and going to the gym. And there's so many pet peeves. Getting up, getting all your stuff together, having to clean up just enough to be outside, even though you're going to go to the gym to get dirty anyway again, then getting on the gym, the time to
And it's like if you're doing this on the way to work, you got to have like an extra stuff for all your extra. Because you're not going to come to work in gym shoes.
Then you have to carry this extra bag around and everything.
Yep.
And it's just like, you have to get there, the time to get there, then you have to wait on other people for machines and all that stuff. And then the money you have to pay. And it just got so annoying. So it's like, I basically learned how I could work out with minimalist equipment and everything. Like, yeah, I do snatches with like 70-pound dumbbells, or I'll do like Turkish get-ups. That's a motherfucker of an exercise.
Turkish get-up.
Oh, man. Like, that, another one I really can't describe. You're just going to have to Google that, look it up on YouTube. But basically, like, it's like, okay, you're laying on the floor, and then you have one arm extended above you, like you're laying on your back, and you have one arm like extended in front of your chest, so it'd be up in the air basically since you're laying on your back, and you have a dumbbell in that hand, and basically you stand up from laying down into like, leaning backward and with one hand on
What
the
does that
floor.
work out?
And like let me describe the whole exercise and then get it. But like you're leaning backwards, like sitting up on the floor. Then you go from there to like a lunge position. Then you go from there to where you stand up all the way up with it while holding this weight above you the whole time. And like basically it works like almost every muscle in your body through every plane of movement and everything.
Damn.
Like, yeah, there's like different planes of movement when it comes to like working out. There's like basically just fancy words. I can't even remember them now, but it's like one means basically pushing, and then there's another one that's pulling, and then there's like basically getting up, and then there's another one that's like pressing down, all this type of stuff. And basically it works all the muscles through all the planes and everything. And it basically like, people are finding out a lot of stuff. Like we're having this huge revolution in like, nutrition and exercise, where people are like finding out what really works and what really doesn't, like, conventionally.
And there's new information I feel like every year. It's like
yeah.
about things we thought we knew. Like
things we thought we knew, and then you
eggs
find
are
out,
bad,
yeah.
eggs are good.
Yeah,
Then
like
the whites are bad, the yellows are good.
Yeah.
The yellows are good, but the whites are bad.
Yeah, man. And it's like drink a shitload of milk, and then milk's gonna fucking kill you. Stop,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
or like cat.
Oh, yeah, remember all those commercials? Got milk. They really emphasize milk.
Yeah, or they're like
those are gone.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a got milk advertisement in a while.
It's fucking crazy, man. It's like it's like, but the thing is, and people go like, oh, no one knows what the fuck they're talking about. It's all bullshit. Like people have the urge to say that, but it's like, no, it's not that. It's just that we're constantly finding out new information.
Absolutely.
And then thing is, just like how, it's social justice. They have the concept of like, say, there's nothing. Say like, okay, in areas where there's racism, there's probably not just racism. There's probably also sexism, misogyny. There's also like classism, and like there's like all these different types of stuff, all these isms, right? And thing is, they basically call it intersectionality. Like things being bad in one area tend to be bad also in another area. Like it's not like you don't have a bunch of KKK guys meaning like goddamn fuck niggers, fuck Jews, fuck fags and everything, but women are pretty cool. Like it's like that's how it works. So like
I think basically if you're an asshole in one way,
you're probably
going to be
or,
an asshole in other ways.
And the thing is, that whole intersectionality, so there's also the idea of if we can make it better in one area, it can make it better in other areas, for everybody. Now, you take that same concept, and it kind of also applies to like nutrition and stuff, where like things are intersectional. Like, for instance, eating a shitload of protein will be great when it comes to packing on muscle, but eating a shitload of protein could be horrible if you don't drink enough water, and then your kidneys have to try to filter out all this protein, and the next thing you know, you're getting kidney stones or just strain.
Ugh.
And then
nobody wants
drinking a ton of water is great because it helps dilute everything from the toxins you intake to the amount of food you eat, and helps break down those, literal minerals and keeps them from building up, and like, it keeps you getting from kidney stones. But if you drink way too much water, it can dilute the crap out of everything, and you can kind of not get. It's kind of weird. Like, I'm an idiot trying to explain this, but yeah. But basically, it's like you're not getting as much nutrients than if you didn't overdo the water.
That makes sense because you're really pissing them out.
Yeah, basically. That's like a dumbed down, simple way to say it, and I can't even say it properly and everything. But yeah, and it's like...
Well, I mean, the whole rule, everything in moderation,
yeah,
applies
basically,
to this.
everything in moderation and everything. And then it's like... But then again, also, there's this concept, like I've been reading this book, The 4-Hour Body by Timothy Ferriss, which is a spectacular book for anyone, by the way, whether you're into working out or not. But one thing he also talks about is...
called The Flowering Body?
The 4-Hour Body.
Oh.
The flowering body.
The 4-Hour Body.
Yes, grow one with nature. Absolutely. That'd
be a great title for another book by Tim Ferriss.
Absolutely. But like, basically the idea is like, there actually is no one way to do something. Because like I said, eating a shitload of protein is great if you want to pack on muscle, but it might not be the best thing if you want to like, maintain 100% kidney health, or like, like basically if you wanted to become the huge, like, I want to become a 300-pound gorilla. I want to be one of those guys that can lift 200 pounds above my head with one arm and everything. Then yeah, eating a shitload of protein will be great for you. However,
but you have to work out.
Yeah, you have to work out, and also there's other means to it. That's a great means to that end. But then if you want longevity of life, like say you want to extend your lifespan, let's say through doing different things, collectively. Say you want to increase your lifespan like 3 years. They actually found that protein rationing or fasting on off of protein for like say, okay, one day you eat however much protein, the next day you don't eat any protein, you're just fruits and vegetables. The next day you eat a moderate amount of protein, stuff like that. That actually has been found to like, line up along with extending lifespan.
Man, how did they keep track of that?
And it's like it was like these case studies that take forever to do and everything.
Gee, that patience for that kind of research is incredible.
And then there's like, we all know that, one thing they're trying to promote in like fitness is that, calories are not the enemy. Because before it was just like, calories in versus calories out. Doesn't matter what you eat, just calories in versus calories out. It's just the amount, basically. Thing is today, no, calories do matter because it measures the amount of food you eat. But at the same time, if you're not getting the right nutrients, then you're going to be fucked anyway. Because like 1,000 calories of Snickers bars is not the same as 1,000 calories of zucchini or something like
lettuce
that.
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of lettuce, by the way.
Absolutely. Like that's the one thing about vegetables. You can eat a fuckload of vegetables and like you won't even clear like 500 calories. Like I remember I had like a huge pot I would make of like roast beef and like just celery, and I think 500 calories of that was enough to feed me throughout the week or half the week, depending on how much of a fat bastard I felt like being.
So speaking of nutrition, last week about milk.
Last week about milk, I have to make a little correction. Milk is actually not illegal throughout all of North America. Raw milk. People are like, what the fuck's he talking about? Milk's illegal. I can buy it at the store. No, raw milk.
State you can.
Unpasteurized milk. Unpasteurized raw milk, it's illegal in it's legal in 29 states within the United States.
All right, more than half.
Yeah, more than half. But at the same time, like, okay, well, not excuse, but yeah, I was wrong. It's not 100% illegal. It's just illegal in a few states, basically, but it's legal in 29 states. But there is a debate over how if it should be legal or whether it's ethical to let people drink it. Meanwhile, there's a debate going on whether raw milk's that bad for you. And everything, and basically the whole idea is, on one hand, like I said, the whole point I was trying to make, intersectionality. On one hand, pasteurizing milk, excuse me, big ass yawn, wow. But yeah, pasteurizing milk kills like, germs that might infect you with something or give you something bad.
It's a preservation.
Technique. And also it stays good for longer.
Exactly, that's what it is.
But at the same time, drinking raw milk, when you're drinking pasteurized milk, you're basically drinking a sea of dead shit. All the enzymes and stuff are all
and there's
dead
a stigma
and
that
killed.
people are afraid. When you say bacteria, they think, oh my God, bacteria kill people. But your body is already made up with more bacteria than there are of people on this planet.
Yeah. You know that saying people say, that dumbass saying, oh, a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's? Like, no, you fuck. It's not that it's cleaner than a human's. It's just that dogs have a lesser variety of microbes, of different types of microbes living in their systems than humans do. That doesn't mean go make out with a dog, you fucking crazy assholes. But yeah, like, anyway.
Have those probiotics. You got to have those cultures.
Yeah. And that one thing I've noticed is that I've been eating a lot of fermented foods like sauerkraut. I'll have like baked chicken with like a huge side of sauerkraut, or I'll drink kombuchas any chance I get. And I've noticed everyone around me, left and right, has been getting colds. Meanwhile, I have been barely getting stuffy noses, and usually my nose is always stuffed up.
So you have a stronger immune system because of that.
Yeah. Basically, exposing your body to these different cultures builds up your immune system and keeps it strong. Basically, it's like.
Which I guess in this current time is people are trying to do more and more.
Yeah. And basically the idea is like, we have this idea that we're just one person, one being and everything. And it's like we're actually like a bunch of different things. Like there's millions of bacteria living inside our bodies that we need in order to function properly. As a matter of fact, when they find people who can't like they can't pass waste properly or anything like that, like they find that they have to actually do transplants where, okay, for those of you eating, I apologize, but they have to do fecal transplants where they basically take someone else's shit and put it into your body because... No, it's a true thing. Like, I forget what it's called. Basically, fecal transplant. Like, look it up to see if it's a thing. But basically, the idea is that in your intestine, there's tons of bacteria that help you break down and digest things and everything, and move excrement properly and all that stuff, and also like digest things properly, because a lot of the nutrients you absorb through your food are absorbed in your intestine, and not necessarily the stomach, but like and the whole idea is that they need the bacteria from other people's fecal material, because that's just what happens to be in the intestines. So you just need, and by introducing that, they introduce the, bacteria that are supposed to be in the intestine that you might not have. And yeah.
Fecal microbiota transplantation.
Pulled
from Wikipedia.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the world's a crazy place, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes you just need a little.
I can't imagine the scientist going to like the FDA with his discovery.
I saw an art. Yeah, like, dude, I'm telling you, you just take his shit and put it in your ass and
and put it into him.
Yeah,
and he'll be better.
Absolutely. But I saw an article talking about, oh no, we can do it in capsules now.
Pills. Yeah, they make pills.
Like, dude, I just saw this weird substance in a plastic capsule, and I'm telling you, bro, put me under and do whatever you need to do. I am not taking a capsule full of shit. That's what it looks like, bro.
Whoa. How to safely do a fecal transplant at home?
Okay, let's stop this.
Yeah,
I'll stop this now.
Do-it-yourself instructions. Damn, the internet is getting weirder and weirder. Oh God, there's a funnel.
Let's not. No. We are not going down that rabbit hole. I refuse.
There's a blender involved.
No,
Lysol wipes.
Fuck? Now I'm thinking that just because someone wrote that guide, there's definitely some asshole who did that with his blender, is using the same blender to make smoothies for his friends at the party the next day.
God, dude, look how it looks like in the blender.
What are you showing me?
Look at that color.
No. Okay, this is no. Ladies and gentlemen, do not fucking Google do-it-yourself fecal transplants.
Hey, listen,
let's not.
Somebody took the time to write this
and the good for that bastard. I hope I'm not. He doesn't roll with any circle of friends of mine.
Man.
But yeah, man. But yeah, there's tons of stuff we're finding out about the human body that we just didn't know before, that science is just figuring out, and that we're nowhere near.
It can be like anything, not just the human body. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about science, and why people are against religion nowadays, because religion's such a closed-minded, set-in-stone type of thing. The most is going to change is our interpretations of our respective holy texts.
But
for science, like, we could discover something, and then 3 years later be like, oh yeah, we were wrong.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that in itself.
Yeah.
Just learn.
But one thing that's a big well, on one hand, they're actually finding a lot of stuff that seem like foo-foo spiritualists, crapola, is actually being substantiated lately through like studies and everything. Like, for instance, training, since we're talking about training so much, like, when people used to do that Rocky stuff, where they would chop logs or, run with a sled, go running in the snow with a sled strapped to their back, or flip tires and stuff. People used to do like, oh, that's just bro science, bro. You need to go to the gym, you need to have machines, and you need to do this and that. But look at MMA fighters, look at martial artists, and you're finding out, like, they're doing studies on this stuff, and it's like, these are actually really good ways to train. We just didn't have the units of measure to prove that before. Or like, this whole thing that I honestly don't know how valid this is, but it's being shared on Facebook lately. The idea that what season you're born in actually affects the your mood, basically.
Oh, well, then you're getting into people going to start saying, oh my God,
people are saying astrology.
Astrology signs are
like,
right.
Astrology's been saying this for years. You people are so behind. Like, well, you need scientists and lab coats to say it. And it's like, well, yeah, we kind of want our stuff to be substantiated before we believe in it. But yeah, actually, they're finding out, well, according to them, they have studies. Like, I haven't looked into the details, so I just might be talking out of my ass right now. But, okay, some stuff that I do know. Okay,
another name for the show.
For instance, you're talking out of my ass with brother Chef Ramsay and Kevin Kayatowski. Yeah. And, but one thing I do know, all right, through ancient Chinese martial arts, like in Kung Fu or Goju Karate, Shotokan Karate, Kyokushin, Korean Hapkido and everything, one thing, they like to emphasize yelling when you throw a strike. And they call it the way you influence your breathing kind of like influences your ki, right? And, excuse me, frick. But yeah, and they called it, harnessing your ki, right? And a lot of people, a lot of Western, when fighting styles really became popular in the West, they're more in the public eye, there's kind of this huge cross in martial arts versus stuff that looks pretty, versus stuff that's actually effective in fighting and everything. And this whole debate over what's useful and what's not useful. And a lot of people are like, all this foo-foo key stuff, it's bullshit,
it's new to
breathing
them.
spiritual.
For Westerners, it's new. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
The United States martial arts was boxing.
Yeah.
That was like a predominant fighting style.
Yeah. Remind me to get back to that. But yeah. And like, but this whole thing about ki, right? It's like, all right, a lot of people were convinced that that's bullshit and everything, but they're actually finding no, like, just like how, say, a karate master will like breathe and tighten up his abs and like, like inhale a deep breath, tighten his abs, and then throw a punch and like before he strikes you in the stomach, and next thing you know, he's like in transporting enough power that he could smash through your rib cage and everything. It's like power lifters actually have the same similar technique where before they do a big squat, a lot of guys will like they'll inhale, and by taking in that breath, their stomach expands and they tighten up all their abdominal muscles and everything, their obliques, their abs, and all that stuff, and it creates this like makeshift like nature's weight belt where it makes you tight around the core, and that intra-abdominal pressure protects the spine while you drop down, and like it basically keeps your body stable. And like that's why like when they're finding that when people want to do core exercise, people are like, oh, what types of crunches do I have to do? What type of sit-ups do I have to do? Actually, heavy squats and deadlifts will make you build an extremely strong core, because like having to maintain that intra-abdominal pressure to keep your torso stable so you're not hunched over and putting the back in danger, like that requires a lot of strength, and you'll build up a lot of strength.
Speaking of that, I mean, with any lifting, form is very important. So if you're just starting out, get somebody who knows this stuff to make sure you got your form right. Start easy, work your way up.
Absolutely. I have like fucked up enough discs in my back.
Exactly. Don't. It's very easy to avoid that, and you definitely want to.
One thing I'm also finding, like, one thing when it comes to working out, a trap I fell into was falling in love with certain exercises. Is like, instead of falling in love with performance. Like, when I first got into lifting, all I wanted to do was heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, heavy bench press, like power cleans and stuff with a barbell. And all that stuff is great. Don't get me wrong. If you want to pack on a fuckload of muscle,
what's wrong with that?
like, it's awesome. But at the same time, I was lifting for wrestling. I was trying to get huge and strong for wrestling because I wasn't the biggest guy, believe it or not, in my weight class. There are some giant fuckers out there. But yeah, like I wasn't the biggest guy and everything. So I had to like build up my strength to be on the same level or give myself an edge over guys who were actually my size. And the thing is, I had like imbalances in my posture, in like my body and my movement that I didn't address, where when it comes to heavy weights, you kind of have to address that learning curve and everything, because like if you don't work out those kinks, you're doing exercises where they are complex but they aren't. Like, you're just doing a squat, you're just sitting back, but if you're not flexible enough in your hips, you'll want to lean far forward too much, especially if you're really tall, because you just don't have the flexibility to where you can keep your torso really straight and dip really low, and that'll cause you to really lean far forward and put a lot of pressure on your lower back. And there are tons of times where I'd be squatting, I'd dip low, and the next thing you know, I hear a like a pop, and that was my spot, like, my, like,
Do you feel that, or did you just?
I felt it, bro. You literally go from like, oh, I'm gonna throw this 300-pound dude right above my head to, oh god, I can barely reach the fucking newspaper on the floor and everything like that. And that's the funny thing. It's like your body, it interconnects and works all like in unison together, so much so that literally something as little as a back injury to one vertebrae in my spine wouldn't even let me, bend over properly or wash my face properly or sit on the toilet properly, and it just sucked, man.
Dude, it's the back. It's our spinal cord, man.
Yeah, man.
The thing that connects our brain to every part of the body.
Absolutely.
It's just the back. You screw that up, that's it.
And like,
you're done.
And the thing is, that's your brain sends signals for your body to do stuff through the spinal cord, which gives out, it goes to whatever branching neurons and everything which connect to other neurons throughout the body to give it the signal to do whatever it has to do. And you fuck that up, it's like you can't communicate. Your brain can't communicate. And one thing I realized why I say like don't fall in love with the exercise, fall in love with performance, because I was so like, no, I gotta do squats, I gotta do deadlifts, I gotta do bench press. I totally overlooked exercise where nowadays I don't even do squats, deadlifts, bench press. Not because they're bad, but just because like, I can do snatches, I can do burpees, I can do jump rope, I can, do stuff like that where it's not as big a learning curve. Like, if someone does a power clean improperly, a barbell power clean improperly, that's potentially hundreds of pounds of weights that, you could like mess up your spine by not catching it properly. You can mess up your knees by not having the squat properly. Just by your toes not being properly aligned with your knees, then you can like mess up your you can mess up your knees to that. And then if your toes bow out too much, you can like, that causes what's it called a navicular drop, where your ankles are, where like basically your inward ankle is lower than your outward ankle.
It's kind of what I was afraid of, because I broke my ankle like 3 years ago, and ever since then, I guess my right leg has always been more dominant than my left leg by a lot.
Yeah. I've like sprained my ankle a lot and everything, and basically like one thing I noticed, I sprained my ankle a lot, and I tore my knee ligaments a lot during wrestling and everything in high school.
Did you get physical therapy for that?
Yeah, I got physical therapy.
I didn't do physical therapy, and that was the biggest mistake in my life, because
Yeah,
I thought I was an idiot. I'm like, I know how to walk. What the hell do I need physical therapy for? I got to go to class. I got a job. I don't have time for PT.
And then like you lose
physical therapy.
Yeah.
Don't make that mistake.
You lose so much like range of motion and everything by not doing that stuff. But
I don't think I'll ever get it back.
Yeah, man. You could maybe train it and stuff now, but it takes a while.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, your neurons, they fire with certain pathways, and when they can't go through those pathways because of pain or whatever, they get used to the pathways they're at now, and they're hard to correct. But it's like, one thing I learned, like Kelly Starrett talks about this a lot. This dude, he's like a big CrossFit trainer, and he talks a lot about the importance of posture, which people are realizing. A lot of people like focus on exercise, but they don't focus on movement, just general movement. And a big problem is basically, okay, like the example I'm giving before. Say you walk with your toes facing outward, like I do this. My toes naturally face outward more. Your toes face outward, that causes the inward part of the ankle to drop lower than the outside part of the ankle, which up the line, your knees bow inward more, because like it's basically like you're tilting your feet in with the outside a little bit more up than the inside. Your knees tend to bow in more, and then over time when you walk like that or move like that, you form these pathways of like, movement where your knees are just naturally go inward more, and then that makes you predisposition to get a knee injury, because one wrong move, like in me with basketball, I came down on my leg wrong, and my knee it tended to bow inward, and I tore my knee ligament, basically. I tore like the meniscus.
So the right way to walk would be feet straight,
feet
right?
straight, as straight as you can get them.
Everyone's
different, but the closer you can get to optimal, the better. And basically like basically I had those movement patterns, and I didn't work them out, before I started lifting heavy. And thing is, the reason why I'm saying like don't get wrapped up with the exercise is because you have these other movements like calisthenics. What I'm saying is, when you do like power cleans and stuff, you can you have the potential of moving wrong. These improper movement patterns could happen, and you can drop hundreds of pounds on you. You can imagine your knee caving in with 200 pounds that you're trying to do a snatch above you or everything, or you don't have.
That's a bad time for the knee.
Or you don't have the scapular stability, or like that one guy in the CrossFit Games, like he did the snatch and his arm the dude in the Olympics the dude in the Olympics, his arm, I forget which hand, but it just caved in, like his elbow just caved in. Oof. Trying to do the snatch. And then another guy like in the CrossFit Games, he dropped the weight and it landed right on his neck and he died. Yeah, man.
Bad way to go.
Yeah.
Bad way to go.
Like, okay, I think that, there's two dudes it happened to. One dude died and another dude like basically couldn't walk for a while. I might be fucking that up. But yeah, a dude dropped the weight on himself, on his neck on the CrossFit Games, and it fucked him up badly. That much for sure I know for sure is true. And basically, it's like, when you do exercise, that's the potential for if you're doing, a big exercise like a power clean with a barbell wrong. But now there are these other alternatives. Like, say you do a burpee wrong. What are you doing? You're dealing with nothing but your body weight. You're just dropping to the floor, doing a push-up, doing a jump squat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's ways to do it improperly, and there's, consequences to doing it improperly. But at the same time, it's nowhere near as much danger as doing a clean improperly.
Exactly. You're not adding any external weight to your body, any other pressure that your body's not usually accustomed to.
And if you do like a power clean, what the fuck was I just talking about? Burpee, there you go. if you do a burpee, everyone knows that's a hard as fuck exercise. You're putting a lot of stress on the body.
People can do one easily. Everybody goes, oh, they see one and they're like, I could do that.
Try doing 50 in a row.
Yeah, then
no rest.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Those, and then add like I was saying, the knee tuck at the top. Like, trust me, like, you'll get a great training effect. And like,
that knee tuck must be good on your abs too.
Yeah. Like I've noticed, like my obliques and everything, my abs, they're like getting a lot like stronger from doing that because you have these giant ass legs and you're trying to like tuck and you have to tuck them in, and also just the dexterity in my feet because you have to land properly like on the balls of the feet, and then drop back down and do the next one, and so you have to like flow them into the motion to like really get it and everything, and like I'll do that. Or like nowadays the heaviest weight I'm lifting is a 70-pound dumbbell where I'm doing snatches or cleans or like windmills with. All great exercises. You should all look them up, like dumbbell snatches or kettlebell snatches and windmills, stuff like that. Like kettlebells and dumbbells, you'll get a great training effect. And all these exercises teach the body how to work together and everything. Because one thing, when you do like stuff like I'm doing these curls or I'm doing these, like quadricep extensions, I'm doing like, all these exercises that focus on one body part, you build
isolation
up that
exercises.
Excuse me, I keep burping. Holy God, I'm a fat pig. But yeah, like you keep doing all these isolation exercises and they build up that muscle, but it's like in a weird way, it's like your bicep is strong as hell, your tricep is strong as hell, your chest is strong as hell, but then it's like, okay.
How do I connect those? How to make them move?
Yeah.
Because when you do those exercises, like even with like kettlebells, for instance, it's like a natural body movement, like what the body is programmed to do, and trains a lot of muscles at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's slower growth, but are we gonna call?
Holy shit.
All right, guys, there's a call into the show. Want to pick it up?
Hold on a second. I'm like, what the hell is this? Hello? Yes, hello.
Welcome to Cooking with Chef.
No, this is Cooking with Chef radio show. Jesus Christ.
And what is this called?
We're in the middle of recording. Sorry, but not really a quiz. Yeah. All right, bye. Holy shit.
Hey, that's a good idea. We get people to call into the show.
Yeah, that'd be great, but he definitely wasn't looking for
questions
us,
or comments.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, I guess they just put the same phone there.
There's a bunch of phones there.
I'm going to just kind of be a dickhead and just disconnect this out. Because, like, let's interrupt the radio show. Like,
isn't there, like, some option on your soundboard to turn it down?
I have no idea how the fuck to work that shit. Yeah, like, whatever.
Show number 2, still learning the ropes.
Absolutely. People are like, Jesus Christ, this unprofessional bullshit. But yeah, man, there's tons of stuff like
professional. We're not getting paid for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck you guys. What the fuck? We'll be as dumb as we want to be.
Professionals. Yeah.
But like, and these exercises, they teach the whole body to work together and everything, and that's like, they're so great and everything. Like, okay, like, I'm obviously a big guy. Like, I'm always gonna be big. Like, but I'm walking around 220 pounds, and I'm not really doing heavy deadlifts or heavy squats or anything like that. I'm doing a lot of calisthenics, a lot of, cleans and presses with dumbbells and everything, or kettlebells if I can, and jumping rope and all that stuff. And obviously my body's predispositioned to be big, but at the same time, like, it's not like I'm withering away. Like, this whole idea, if you don't do the big lifts, you're going to wither away. And it's like, nah, not necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, because it's like there are people who want to get big, and then people who just want, like you said, have that longevity going on.
Yeah.
Just living a healthy life.
Yeah.
If you want to live healthy, work out.
Yeah.
Workout doesn't mean lift weights. It could be run or do calisthenics.
A lot of times,
do yoga.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, oh man, yoga is so awesome. Like, I was like doing it after workouts, and it's like a huge difference. Like, just one thing, like I said before, like, a lot of people don't focus on movement patterns. Like, they just want to like lift heavy and everything and be really strong, and that's great, but
lift things up and
put them down. If you want to build iron, you must bleed iron. Yeah. And like, yeah, man, like, all that stuff's good in the long run, but, the one thing is, like, I used to never do cardio. I was one of those, fuck cardio, I just want to be big, guys, and it was like, it's like, awesome, you can lift 300 pounds, but you walk a flight of stairs and you're like, why are my lungs so heavy?
going upstairs from the gym after leg day?
Oh, Jesus
tough.
Christ. But yeah, man. And it's like the great thing I love about these exercises, like, basically, like, the type of workouts I do, it's like you watch Fight 360 or, like, RossTraining.com, like, shout outs to both those places, like, great training resources. And it's like, all these exercises, you have such a big training stimulus. Like, one of the benefits of CrossFit, like, there's a lot of pros and cons with CrossFit, but the thing that I like about their training is that, even though I kind of don't agree with the whole big Olympic lifts thing.
It's not perfect.
Yeah, it's not
new.
perfect, but like, it's new.
It's still working the kinks out.
Yeah, one of the things I do like is that they do. It's like all these stressful exercises that since you're basically circuit training through, because that's basically all it is. It's just advanced circuit training. When you're going through all these different exercises, they're all stressful on the body, but like, you're not giving yourself any rest, and it's like it's teaching your muscles to work through fatigue. And say if you're one of those guys who hates running, but you need to work on cardio, grab yourself a jump rope, and if you can do kettlebells properly, or if or say you can't do kettlebells properly, you don't know what you're doing, just grab yourself a jump rope. Do like a circuit. Say, give yourself 20 minutes, divide each minute into twos, 30 seconds each. 30 seconds of jump rope, 30 seconds of burpees, and just keep cycling back and forth between them for 20, 30 minutes straight. I guarantee you will be huffing and puffing. And like, your thing is, your muscles will know. You'll be doing all these exercises where you're utilizing, the movement through all these different planes of movement and everything. You're utilizing your muscles all through all these different planes of movement, and like, you're getting strong, you're building up conditioning, and you're building up your cardiovascular endurance and everything.
And with jump rope, coordination.
Coordination.
Also a thing that people like overlook.
Yeah, one of these things I love
doing. Like, I sucked at jump rope, but when I started boxing, I got better and better. You start doing little tricks, crossover, things like that.
Makes your footwork so much better.
Start doing one leg at a time, things like that.
One leg at a time, double unders, the friggin' I forget what thing where you like whip your arms.
And it's
to
fun.
Like the opposite
I
side.
love it. It's fun.
It's great.
I have a good time when I do it.
Yeah, it's fun now. I remember the first beginning, you always just whip yourself.
Yeah,
and you're like,
I look like an idiot. I'm like,
yeah.
kidding me? Give me jump rope. I've never jumped rope in my life.
Yeah, man. But it's great. It's great stuff and everything.
Coach just said, just do it. He's like, can you give me some pointers? Like, no. It's
just
like, what pointers do you want? When the rope comes under your feet, jump. Okay.
Oh, man. I remember my old, I used to have like a really old school wrestling coach. Not the best coach, but like, oh my God. But this dude just had that really old school mentality, kind of a dickhead. Be like, I remember I came to practice with like, I had torn ligaments in both of my knees, and I'm sitting on the sidelines with ice on both my knees. And then he just walks in, and everyone's practicing. I'm sitting on the sideline with icing both my knees, and ice on both my knees and on both elbows, because I would get, by the end of every season, I had a torn ligament in both knees, and I had a tendonitis in both elbows, to the point where I couldn't even do push-ups. He walks in, he's like, the fuck's he doing? To the assistant coach. And it's like, the assistant coach is like, he says he has a knee problem, like, yeah, he's just bitching, he's just being a pussy, like, whatever.
Oh, that's not.
And I didn't have my glasses on, but when I don't have my glasses on, I can't necessarily see the details of something, but I can tell like general movements, and his face just contorts in a way where like, it's like, this fucking bitch. It's like, I could barely walk, and this guy's like, I can't, you can't walk, give me a baby, Justin. Like, he was just such a dickhead, like one of those real old school, like,
man, that's not gonna fly anymore.
Play through the pain, guys, and everything.
One mom sends a letter, and that's it. That guy's fired.
Jesus Christ. And the funny thing is, one thing I noticed is that he kind of had like what I call like, like bad dad syndrome, where like, he was never, throughout his entire wrestling tenure, he was never one of those dudes who won a state competition or finished at the top three or finished top 2 or top 3 at a competition or at a tournament. He was one of these guys. He was like he had a all right work ethic, but even he says towards the end of his career, he just fizzled out and he didn't give a fuck, and he just rolled over, let guys pin him. He just didn't give a fuck and everything. And then he would never really clear. A great tournament for him was coming in 4th place, basically. And it's like, but he turns around, and it was like, I remember he used to be like, see, why do you think you're getting 2nd place at all these tournaments, Justin? Silver medal, what's good with gold, Justin? Like,
maybe he thinks that's going to motivate you.
Yeah, all these guys.
Tough
love.
Do you think you have to be good at the sport to be the coach of it?
No,
like professional level.
I don't think you have to be good at this, necessarily great at sport. Because look at like, all right, guys like Mike Dolce, right? Of the Dolce diet in mixed martial arts. He's a spectacular dietitian, and he's a great coach too when it comes to forming training camps. But he wasn't necessarily the best mixed martial artist. Didn't really go that far in his career. Or like Dwayne Ludwig, he wasn't necessarily the best mixed martial artist or the best kickboxer. He was really good, but you get older,
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see the basketball coaches of the NBA play against each other.
Absolutely.
Have all the coaches of every team, head coaches, pit against East Coast against West Coast coaches.
Yeah, all these guys who they played at the time, or some of them may have played before, but a lot of them are just like fat rich guys who just own the team and everything.
I would love to see that.
But like the idea and thing is, there's a lot of things that you learn or understand better when you start coaching as opposed to when you just do them at someone else's direction. And
coaching is more about knowing the sports. Like how do I teach? How do I strategy for anything. Strategy applies to no matter what sport you're doing.
I know one guy, he was never a state champion, but once he took over our team, he was a much better coach than the one I was describing before. He was never a champion himself, but once he took over the team, he's the one who gave us our first state champion in decades.
What did he do differently?
But
how is he better?
Well, his thing was he didn't have the whole fuck pain, just play through the pain, no gain. He wasn't like that. He was like, fuck that, you got an injury, take the time off and rest. Because it's okay.
That's like a distinct old school versus new school mentality.
And Bobby Lawler, or his whole thing was, you don't necessarily go hard all the time. Of course you got to spar hard sometimes, but you don't necessarily go hard all the time. But Bobby Lawler, he's a big MMA fighter who's about to fight Johnny Hendricks, I believe. And for the welterweight title, whichever title that George St. Pierre used to hold, that went to Johnny Hendricks after he retired, and they're gonna fight for it now. But basically, Bobby Lawler, he's been knocking people out left and right. And the thing is, they're like, yo, so what are your spar sessions like? He's like, I don't spar. I know how to fight. And they're like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, dude, I already know how to fight. Why am I gonna go bang up my head and give myself more brain damage when I could just potentially, extend my career and just I know how to work. I know how to fight, so I'm just going to work my mitts, do a little bit of, agility training and stuff like that, or do my regular conditioning or technique drills, but I don't need to fight. I'm training for the fight. I don't need to fight in practice. But yeah.
I think you do.
Yeah.
It's because once you're in the fight, if you haven't had experience with sparring,
I feel like it's a give and take. You definitely need to spar. I personally feel you should spar and you should definitely spar, but the thing is, there's a difference between sparring and gym wars. A lot of guys like Wanderlei Silva, Shogun Rua, that shoot boxe gym, they used to just notoriously beat the fuck out of each other. And it's a lot of these guys, all right, Chuck Liddell, he used to talk about, Chuck Liddell in the beginning of his career versus Chuck Liddell at the end of his career. He said that his body, basically the thing is, in the beginning, he would just bite down on his mouthpiece, go to war with you, and just swing and swing and swing. And it didn't matter. And he would just take whatever you threw at him. He would just bite his mouthpiece down, take your shot, and then come back at you even harder and knock you the fuck out before you can knock him out. Then, towards the end of his career, he would take one shot grazing his chin by Rich Franklin and just be knocked out cold. Or one shot grazing his chin by Rashad Evans and just die. Die out, just collapse on the cage. And it's what happened? He said it was a defense mechanism. His theory was it was a defense mechanism. Basically, his body got so used to getting knocked out. Meanwhile, in MMA, the moment you drop, it's not like boxing where it's a 10 count after that. It's no, they immediately stop the fight. Yeah. So his brain kind of realized, okay, self-defense mechanism.
Oh my God.
If the damage to my face, to my brain, basically because the chin is the off button to the brain, if the damage to my chin, which sends a shock up to my brain, is going to stop when I not get knocked out, then I'm going to get knocked out easier. That's so towards the end of his career, it was just that much easier to turn off his switch, to turn his switch.
His brain was just self-sabotaging his fight.
Basically, to make it easier.
Saying, okay, we're going through a fight. I don't want to have the body hurt. Okay. Yeah,
basically, to make it easier for him to drop. Basically, make it easier for him to drop so he could just not, take any more damage.
At this pattern, it's going to be as soon as he steps into the ring, the brain's going to be okay, shut down.
As soon as you open the cage.
Exactly. It's I'm not stepping. You're not taking any punches today, Chuck.
And then the thing is, a lot of people show the difference between Forrest Griffin when he fought Anderson Silva, getting knocked out by Anderson Silva when Anderson Silva was leaning back and he just threw out a stiff jab and knocks him out, versus the Forrest Griffin who fought Stephan Bonner in his debut in the UFC, where they're just going to war with each other and just diving and taking all those shots. Forrest Griffin even says he got knocked out a lot in training. Before his fight, Brendan Schwab, he got knocked out a lot in training before he fought Andrei Arlovsky, and it's like, it's like how much it's a give and take. Like if you're getting knocked out in training and your brain is already getting that pathway to turn off, do you really want to go into a fight like that where it already has that set pathway to turn off, basically?
But at least you know what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I feel like Anderson Silva, who never gets knocked out until that one time.
Yeah. That's why I say it's a give and take. Like, you should definitely go through the motions. Do a light spar. That's why I'm saying the difference between a sparring session and a gym war. Guys get in gym wars, their egos start to they put their ego too much into the sparring session. They're getting, like, out techniqued or outclassed and like, or like the other guy's faster. I'm like, fuck that. And then they want to throw and they start, and next thing you know, two guys are just banging each other. And like, pause. Two guys just banging each other. It's right there. It's like, just go. Let's go. Take it. Like, nah. But like, yeah, they're just like throwing bombs and like, just hitting each other in the face, trying to wail on each other, who can knock who out first. And then it fucks up everything because it's like, yo, what the fuck? Are we trying to get better or are we trying to just kill each other?
Yeah.
That's why I think, meanwhile, a sparring session, when you get guys who are good at striking and everything, they can, like, on one hand, you can tell when you're open or you can tell when you were going to get clipped. And then it becomes more of a cardio thing, more of a technique thing where you can throw these hits, but you can trust your partner enough to know that he's not going to try to kill you or anything like that. And, yeah, basically, I think it's really good. It's really good to go through that type of sparring session. But, like, the point that I was making before is, like, yeah, this coach is like, you don't have to get in those heavy gym wars. You don't have to kill each other. I've seen guys where it's, like, literally a week before states, they were going so hard in practice, and the next thing you know, one dude who was literally the second ranked from the state champion, and, like, at cities, which was, like, about a week and a half before states, second ranked from the state champion turned around, broke his ankle in practice.
Ugh, I don't know what that's like.
And then barely caught sixth place at the tournament when he was just ranked second. And me, I was also ranked in like the top 3 in my weight class, but I had by the end of the season, I had torn ligaments in both my knees. And who knows what I could have done if my knees were on point or if I just rested them properly or made them recover.
Yeah, but that's the past. So
yeah, what are you going to do? All you can do is just improve from there. And the thing is, the good coach versus my bad coach, like Rich Dad Poor Dad, good coach, bad coach, he kind of learned from those mistakes, and it's like, okay, run through technique. There's and then the thing is also run through technique, and and let it come together. You don't necessarily have to go hard 100% of the time. You should definitely have those instances where you do get used to having that pressure and having, trying to fight against each other and all that stuff. But at the same time, you don't need to kill each other all the time. And also, like, cutting weight, like, one thing, a lot of guys, especially in the UFC, we just saw the exit with Henan Barrow, I believe is his name. He was supposed to fight T.J. Dillashaw, and he literally collapsed at weigh-ins. He passed out.
How much weight did he drop?
Damn, like, I don't know, but I know he drops a ton of weight. I believe.
Oh man, I mean I really didn't like that part about the UFC. Guys specifically trying to drop weight
Barrow versus
just to get in that class.
Okay, I'm trying to find this. Barrow versus Dillashaw, and let me see, weight cut, and trying to say Henan Barrow out of UFC 177. Let me see if this article says it, but yeah, he drops a ton of weight.
And he collapsed in the fight itself?
No. He collapsed before when they were trying to weigh in because he still didn't make weight. He was trying to cut still.
Oh, but okay. He was trying to make the weigh in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And like. Honestly, all right.
That must have been a bad sign. I mean,
okay. He won Bellator's bantamweight.
What makes me wonder is like who's in charge of those decisions? Like, is it the coach suggesting?
Honestly,
the fighter being like, listen, you want to fight in that class?
Fight camps. Well, usually it depends. It's like they get offers and everything, and it's usually the whole camp comes together. It's ultimately the fighter's decision, but the camp comes together and the coach will direct them. The different, like his nutritionist, his coaches, various coaches, they'll come together and try to decide which fights are best for him. If they're smart, they do their homework, find out if the guy's a good matchup with them, if they really feel they can make the weight and whatnot. I think
they do weigh-ins like a couple of days before the actual
the day
fight,
before,
right?
the day before, yeah. But the thing is, and that's because they do that because guys were cutting weight right before they go into a fight, and basically when you're cutting weight, for people who don't know what we're talking about, basically when you fight, it's in weight. You fight in different weight classes, and before you go fight, it's like you have to make a certain weight, be under a certain weight, like, you know, say
sure
205 pounds, to make
guy.
sure it's fair, because you don't want like a 275-pound guy fighting a 170-pound guy and then calling it, you know, and then wondering why, you know, this 170-pound guy was like leg kicking this 270-pound fuck,
nothing.
and then there's like nothing. Then this 270-pound guy's throwing him out of the cage with one hand and stuff. And then
people are born differently. People are born bigger and smaller.
Yeah. People
that's
are bigger.
That's why you have weight
smaller,
classes.
Yeah. So that's why you have weight classes. But thing is, to get an advantage, you'll have a 230-pound guy cut, like Anderson Silva walked around 230 pounds, would cut all the way to 185 to make a 185 fight. And then
he's 185 right. Anderson Silva is 185 right now.
I believe. Well, for the fight, he's 185. He'll cut all the way and make weight, and then he'll rehydrate and.
The day after?
Yeah, the day of and day after.
I mean,
and he'll basically, like, a lot of weight in your body is water. But thing is, and by water, I don't mean you just drink a lot of water and then you're carrying around a fucking gallon of water that you drank in your stomach. I mean, like, your muscle cells and, like, you know, all your cells, like that. What do they call it? Cytoplasm? Is that what? Yeah, no, I haven't taken biology forever. The cytoplasm inside your cell wall, that a lot of that is water, and that's different things. Every different contents of the cell, different nutrients, different, and then everything is composed of water. Like a percentage, all liquids are composed some percentage of water, and this is your blood, this is your body cells, and that's why they say the human body is about 60% water, something like that.
They say 70.
Yeah, 75. That's what they mean, and that because a lot of the space you're taking up is water weight technically. So when you're cutting weight, you're literally depleting your entire body of its water content. Dehydrating yourself so you can make the weight, and then you can rehydrate, and that way you can hopefully make it as close to your regular size you can and have that size advantage when you go back to fight.
Well, what's interesting is like these weight classes are only different by like 10 pounds. Like flyweight's 125. Next one is bantam at 135.
Yeah.
Featherweight's 145.
Yeah. That's the weight class differences.
Every 10 pounds. Yeah. So it's like, it's not that, it's really not that drastic to change classes.
But like I said, you have guys who cut all the way from 230, which is a heavyweight, like Anderson Silva.
Middle all of the heavyweight. Because light heavyweight's 205, and then heavyweight's 265.
Yeah. So
you're still a light heavyweight at 230.
No, everything over 205 is heavyweight.
Oh, okay.
And the max is 265. That's what guys have to
After that, there's super heavyweight, which has no limit.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to see.
Yeah. So you have guys who should be fighting heavyweight, cutting all the way to like 185 pounds.
That's a lot.
And then they'll rehydrate to re-size up and everything. Like that's why they say like, you know, like
is that even like fair? Because it's not. You're
is
still fighting above the weight class once the actual fight happens.
It is what it is, man. And the thing is, that's why everyone weight cuts. So the whole idea is if you're cutting weight, then the next guy's probably cutting weight.
Probably.
Yeah. And then the thing is, like, but yeah. And in wrestling, I see that guys would just basically starve themselves, basically just cut their calories. Instead of learning how to eat the right things so they naturally drop body fat, they'll just cut calories and they'll lose weight, but it's like your body's starving. And when your body's starving, it's like, fuck, I gotta break down fucking everything, man. And the thing is, muscle, it requires a lot more nutrients and calories in order to than fat. A pound of muscle takes more nutrients and calories to sustain than a pound of fat.
Of course.
That's why if you don't work out, then your body's gonna drop muscle. What people say muscle's turning to fat, it's not transmutating it to fat.
Yeah,
that's your body.
It's just using what.
Yeah, it's your body basically eating the muscle, getting rid of it because it's like we don't need this shit. Mm-hmm. And like
and feeding the muscle basically.
Yeah.
It's feeding the muscle.
It's basically
your fat.
Yeah. It's like and it's like you're basically getting rid of muscle in your body.
That's why there was this big theory of like let's say I have a lot of stomach fat.
Yeah.
People would like. Just do abs to cut that, but that's a bust theory.
Yeah, that's not necessarily what's happening. That's not really what's happening. But yeah,
like focusing certain workouts to like to drop
like spot reduction.
Yeah,
that's
what it's called.
Yeah, because it's like you have to
not
lose,
a valid theory.
If you're gonna lose weight, you have to lose it from all over your body. You can't make your body lose it particularly in one spot. Now, some people like to argue that because technically speaking, when you have activity in certain muscles, that causes insulin release and that causes insulin receptors to go to those muscle cells. So technically speaking, you're diverting calories from being stored in your fat or glycogen into the glycogen for those muscle cells right there. So on some level, some minuscule microscopic level, spot reduction is a thing, but not on the grand scale of things. Like you're not gonna lose 10 pounds off your waistline by doing crunches. You gotta,
you're gonna get abs.
Yeah,
it's gonna be under all that fat.
Yeah, and you got to create a deficit enough to burn it from around your entire body. But the thing is, like with weight cutting, guys would like starve themselves as opposed to learning how to eat the right things. Like Mike Dolce, what he has guys do is some of his techniques. First of all, he gets their diet right to where they're eating, healthy and everything. They're naturally dropping body fat, and at the same time, they can pack on muscle. And like they can pack on muscle, but because they'll have a protein surplus. But at the same time, like I said, like a calorie is not a calorie. People have been trying to promote that for exercise and for like nutrition in years. That I have this book, The 4-Hour Body, the book I was talking about.
4-Hour Body.
Yeah, that same book I was talking about. He mentions a study. Timothy Ferriss mentions a study that was done. 3 different groups of people in weight loss, like that were put on. One was 1,000 calories of protein. Another was 1,000 calories of fat, and another was 1,000 calories of carbohydrates. All 1,000 calories, so technically they should have been losing weight, but different, macronutrients have different effects on different hormones in your body, and they just like I said, render different effects in the body. The people who are on the 1,000 calories of protein lost about, I want to say 0.5% or 0.9% body fat per day. Well, wait, they lost pounds. Well, 0.9% of weight. They lost that much per week. I have the book in my bag, but I can't get. Anyway, you can look it up yourself to find out, to see what I'm saying. But you look it up yourself and find the exact numbers. Timothy Ferriss, 4-Hour Body.
Yeah, but the conclusion is guys on protein lost weight.
So they lost weight. What
happened to the carbs and fat guys?
The guys with fat, the guys with fat lost, I think, 1.5%.
They lost more.
They lost more weight than the protein guys.
Whoa.
And then the carbohydrate guys had a gain of 0.24% and everything. And
so
that's
people hear this just going to be like, okay, carbs are bad and fat's good, protein's good.
Yeah, and it's like thing is,
but it's not that simple either. Your body needs carbs as well.
Yeah, like what's his name? Dave Asprey, the Bulletproof Diet guy. He's like this basically another guy who does the same type of stuff, biohacking basically. Another one of these biohackers, just like Tim Ferriss. He cut his carbohydrates, and he found that when he would eat under 100 grams of carbohydrates, right, that his body would produce less mucus, because your body needs carbohydrates to produce mucus and properly lubricate his breathing passages. And he would have really dry breathing passages, like his mouth was really dry and everything, and he couldn't breathe properly.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
carbs.
It's all this weird different types of stuff, man. Yeah, and but yeah, basically like different things have different effects on the body. And thing is, carbohydrates have basically they cause your body to spike insulin the most. And insulin is a storage hormone. Basically, it's like you have to learn how these different things interact with different things in your body. It's not just calories in versus calories out. Calories are a part of the puzzle, but not all of it.
It's way more complex. Man.
Yeah, it's way more complex.
And even to make it even complicated, each person is different.
Yeah, and everybody's different.
It's dependent on what the daily activity is, what you're trying to do.
Yeah, there's different body types. Like Kevin, you're kind of like
small frame, 5'8" guy.
You're an ectomorph, but you're athletic.
Yeah,
you're like
I would say so.
You're like there's like ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. Endomorphic guys are really good at putting on weight. They can put on a lot of muscle, but they also put on a lot of fat and hold it easy. Mesomorphic guys are your ideal athletic, I come out the womb looking like Ryan Gosling type of guys, yeah. Then there's ectomorphic guys, they're really skinny, and I come out the womb looking like Topher Grace type of guys.
Yeah, no, I think I'm mesomorph, short,
and
it's hard for me to put on weight.
And you're kind of like a ecto, because there's usually no one's a one type of body type in between.
Yeah, you're right.
You're like a leaner
quasi
guy. Yeah,
ecto, meso.
You're a leaner guy, but you're athletic and you can put on weight. You're like, an athletic, lean guy.
Then again, it's not easy for me to put on weight. Like I've been working out for a while.
And you got to eat a lot. You can eat a shitload.
And I have to eat a shitload, yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like a endo type of guy. It's easy for me to put on fat. Or like right now, I'm 14% body fat with visible abdominals. And it's like, I don't have a bustling six pack, but like I said, you could tell like abs are there, and they're like, you could see some lines of striations and stuff. Meanwhile, I'm 14% body fat, so it's like I'm a jiggly, ripped guy.
Here are the typical traits of an endomorph: soft and round body, gains muscle and fat very easily, is generally short, stocky build, round physique, finds it hard to lose fat, slow metabolism, muscles not so well defined. So not a lot applies to you. You're still big.
Yeah, and I'm tall, and it's like...
Do you gain muscle easily?
Yeah, because my thing is I keep muscle easily. That's what I've found for myself. Like, honestly, I've noticed as I've been doing snatches and stuff, as I've been doing snatches, as I've been doing pull-ups and everything, my traps and my, like, lats have been getting bigger and everything. And, like, I have that yoked look. I get that yoked look more. But at the same time, it's really hard for me to lose fat. And when I starved myself, when I used to diet improperly, the lowest I got was like 203. But for me, skinny was 203. That was me skinny. I love people, but thing is, I was walking around, people like, yo, you look like you're on crack, bro. Meanwhile, I'm 203 and I'm a muscle, like, So it's like that me skinny and depleted was still huge compared to a lot of people. So like, yeah, and it's like I'm really soft, like around the midsection, around certain sections and everything. But yeah, I'm like a endomorphic guy and everything. Okay. All right, and oh man, well, like we're coming up on about an hour, and
I guess the end of show number 2.
End of show number 2. Shit, we just basically talked about nutrition. And
no social issues.
No social issues. Oh man,
who knows what we're gonna cover next week?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, man, I guess this has been episode 2 of Cooking with Chef. All right,
all right, guys, have a good week.
Have a good week. Absolutely. Listen to the Joe Rogan Experience. All right, read the 4 Hour Body. Change your life. All right.